Hello and welcome back to my booktube channel. Today I am doing a tag. I have so many videos planned for December, January with the wrap up of 2020 and reading plans for next year, so I'm so excited to be doing this video and there are lots more coming. I think I'm actually going to be posting even more than just once every week on Sunday, just because there's a lot of ideas that I want to get to within this month and next month. And today I'm doing the reader problems tag. I originally saw this on Haley and Bookland's channel, I think just last week or the week before, but it was originally created, I didn't actually write it down, but I will link the original creator below. I have the questions screenshotted on my phone. While I did watch Haley and Bookland's video, I have already forgotten all the questions and all her answers to them, so this will be fun to see what my thoughts are on the questions. Number one is, you have 20,000 books on your TBR. How in the world do you decide what to read next? And this is actually kind of a pretty easy question for me, because while I am a mood reader, a lot of the time I cannot discern what book I'm in the mood to read, and almost exclusively how I decide is I take a picture of the list of options. with 20,000 books, I'd probably just pick like 20 of them randomly, and then I would take a picture and send it to my friend and say, tell me what to read, and she'd pick one and we'd go from there. And that's almost exclusively how I choose a lot of my books when I don't know what to read, especially audiobooks as well. Like, I'll screenshot the audiobooks available on my library app and like that are favorited. I'm like, what should I read next? And she picks, and that's what I read next. So that's actually a pretty easy question for me. Number two, you're halfway through a book and you're just not loving it. Do you quit or are you committed? I'm gonna be honest, a lot of the time I will just finish it. And like, if I really don't like it and there's something that's like really bothering me in it, I will put it down. But that doesn't happen very often. Like, there's not often a book that I just really don't like. And there's been a couple big disappointments this year, but all of them I have finished through. And sometimes that does like entail me switching to the audiobook to help me get through it, because like, if I'm already halfway through, I can finish the audiobook on double or triple time and just get done with it, because at least I can still mark it on my Goodreads. And like, what if the end makes the whole thing worth it or something? So I usually do just finish the book. There's not a lot that I DNF. And even books that I do DNF, they're usually books that I will eventually pick back up, or like, if I am DNFing a book, it's within the first couple chapters, like there's just something that doesn't mesh with me and I'll put it down, but I don't do that very often. Number three, the end of the year is coming and you're so close but so far away on your Goodreads reading challenge. Do you try and catch up, and how? Yes, there haven't been many years that I have been severely behind on my Goodreads challenge by the time December rolls around. I've usually made my Goodreads goal by that time of year. But if I wasn't, I would just go in for either rereads, like easy books like Twilight, Harry Potter, Percy Jackson, books I know I can get through, and I'm still going to enjoy rereading them, obviously, and maybe some graphic novels or like comic books. I don't read a lot of those, but there's some on my list that I would like to get to. Or poetry books is a big one that I really like to read those, and they're very quick to get through. Or one year I did even just read like literally a picture book, but that wasn't like at the end of the year I need one more book to read. I just like read it and I was like, well, I should add this on my Goodreads. I'm one step closer if I add this. So it just I'd pick up shorter, faster books. I really don't think I could let it go and not make my goal, because I'm a type A person. If I made the goal, I have to finish it. So I don't think I could just let it go. That's not an option. Like, absolute worst case scenario, I would change my Goodreads goal to a lower number so I can still like feel accomplished by making the goal. Number four, the cover of a series you love does not match. How do you cope? Well, not well. So I have the problem of covers not matching in quite a few of my series. The Diviners in Lair of Dreams, my copies don't exactly match, but that series has changed covers so many times, and honestly, they're all ugly. I hate all of the like incarnations of the cover. I'll put a picture up. I have the purple one and then the blue Lair of Dreams, and those kind of match because the font's kind of the same, but then I also have paperback and hardback, and it's just a whole mess. And all the other covers for that series, the one that they released the last book, that style, I absolutely hate it, so there's just no winning with that series. When the next A Court of Thorns and Roses books will come out, when that next one, that new ugly cover comes out, that won't match, but I'm gonna buy it because it's Nesta and Cassian and I need to read it, but I despise that cover. I hate it. It's so ugly. Who designed that? I'm sorry. I'm sure whoever designed it worked very hard and they probably really liked it, but the fact that the publisher was like, yeah, no, this is what we're going for. And I know it's to market to maybe like an older audience, but it's so ugly. It's so bad. And like, I love the other covers. The illustration I think is very pretty, so I don't understand why they made that decision. I'm not a fan. But I think that's it. I think most of my other series match because I don't have a lot of completed series that aren't covers that match already. Like Harry Potter or City of Bones, all those series kind of have matching covers anyway, so that's how I would do that. Number 5, everyone and their mother loves a book you really don't like. Who do you bond with over shared feelings? I don't know. I guess like just people on Bookstagram or BookTube, or like I have one friend who reads. I don't have any like in real life friends that are into books as I am. I have one of my best friends, she loves to read. Everyone else, like I know people who like casually read, but no one like me, like no one else is in the BookTube community or Bookstagram or anything, so not really anyone. I would probably go online and talk to people I know on Bookstagram, which I have a lot of Bookstagram friends. I'm in quite a few like groups that are just a lot of really great people, and I'd probably go rant to them. I can't actually really think of an example of a book that I hate that everyone else loves. A lot of the books I hate, everyone else hates too, so the only one I can think of is maybe The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and I have done some ranting about that one to some of my Bookstagram friends, so that is what I would do for that one. Number 6, you're reading a book and you're about to start crying in public. How do you deal? Honestly, I'm not sure if this has ever been an issue for me. Like I don't cry a lot in books. There are books that make me cry, like a select few. Book Thief, obviously, Deathly Hallows, and you know, also other Harry Potters. The Queen of Air and Darkness and like the second book in that series as well made me cry, like just because big character deaths happen in all those examples, but it's never been in public. I've never been in that situation, but honestly, I would either one, probably just stop reading and just finish when I get home, or like, I feel like right now, because we all have the masks on, it hides so much of my face, you wouldn't notice I was crying, like, very much, and I would probably just run with it. Number 7, a sequel of a book you love just came out, but you've forgotten a lot from the prior novel. Will you reread the book, skip the sequel, try to find a synopsis on Goodreads, cry in frustration? This is my life. This is my entire life of trying to catch up on series, but I can never remember what happened in the last one. I'm literally reading Heir of Fire right now, and I'm 200 pages in and I have no idea what's going on because I remember nothing from Crown of Midnight, despite the fact that I read it like 4 months ago. I haven't done any of these. I've just ignored it and hope that I will somehow figure out what's happening, which isn't my smartest method, but it's honestly what I do the most often. I just keep reading and hope that I will remember what happened in the last one, and I never do, but I have a really bad memory when it comes to remembering the previous book, especially in fantasy, because I'll get it, and fantasies are really the only ones with sequels. There's not a lot of contemporary sequels, but I will forget stuff and then get it mixed up with other series as well. Like, for example, I've been reading Heir of Fire, and I keep remembering things. I'm like, wait, did that happen in Crown of Midnight or Throne of Glass? But no, I'm pretty sure it happened in Snow Like Ashes by Sarah Roche, or whatever her name is. I'm not even sure that's the right title. but like I'll mix it up with other fantasy books so that I maybe read at the same time as the other one. So sometimes I will look up a review and like try and remember things maybe. So there's not really any books that I have reread in anticipation for a new sequel just because I don't have the time to do that. There's so many books I want to read. I'm not really going to take time to go reread something I probably pretty recently read just to read a sequel. Number 8, you do not want anyone borrowing your books. How do you politely tell people nope when they ask? I'm going to be honest, I borrow books to people. Well, I borrow books to one person because I only have one person asking me to borrow books. There's no one else in my life that would borrow anything from me probably. And most of the time, if they want to borrow it, they can borrow it. The only things I typically don't lend out is if it's a signed book, just because I am a little bit more specific about those. I want them in nice condition. But like I also have some books that like weren't even signed to me. Like my Throne of Glass copy is technically signed, but it's signed to someone else because I bought it used. So like that I would lend out if someone wanted to read it. But usually I'm pretty chill. I'm not like, as long as it's not one of my nicer like signed copies, if you want to borrow a book, please, because then we can talk about it. But like literally no one asks to borrow my books, so I don't have anything to like talk to anyone about it anyway. I would actually kind of really like if someone would ask to borrow one of my books, because then that would mean that they were reading and we could talk about it, but that has not been my experience. So number 9, you've picked up and put down 5 books in the last month. How do you get over your reading slump? This is a good question. I don't know. This has been me the last couple months, except I just try and force myself to get through a book. I would probably pick up a romance, maybe a contemporary. It might be a little easier than getting into a historical romance, but I would go for something I know is comfortable to read and I know has a happy ending. That's a big part of it. Or if even that's not working, I go for a reread, and I can almost guarantee you that means Harry Potter, because I'm always going to be in the mood to read that first Harry Potter, because it's just such a comfort read to me that if I need to get out of a slump, that'll do it. And the other thing is I will watch BookTube. That really helps put me in a reading mood. So that is something I do sometimes too. If I'm not like in a reading mood, if I'm in a reading slump, watching BookTube for like inspiration, I guess, can really help. Number 10, there are so many new books coming out that you're dying to read. How many do you actually buy? I honestly don't buy a lot of books new, especially like if they're new releases too. There aren't many that I will buy. The couple things that I will buy new releases is something by Cassandra Clare or something by Rick Riordan. And then like Midnight Sun I bought brand new. So Stephanie Meyer, I guess, but that was her first book in quite a long time. I don't really buy books brand new. I don't really buy new releases just because they're too expensive and I can't afford it. But used books I will buy quite a lot. So I will put things on my list, and if I come across them used, I will probably pick them up if they've been on my list for a while of something that I want. But in the course of a year, I don't know how many books I buy. Like, I would say less than 50, which might sound like a big number, but like I got that bookish box from eBay this year, which was 30 books, but I split it with a friend. And then I've probably bought maybe 20-ish books from used bookstores over the course of the year, but that has also been like gift cards, which I don't really count as buying books because it's a gift card. So yeah, I don't think too many. I don't like randomly go on Amazon or anything and just buy books that look interesting. Like I bought Crown of Midnight and Heir of Fire because they were sequels to Throne of Glass, which I was reading. So like something like that, but I don't just go to Barnes & Noble and buy a bunch of books that look good, because I went to Barnes & Noble yesterday and those books are so expensive. I don't understand how anyone shops there. I love it there. And if I have a gift card, I'll go, but it's so expensive for books there. It's insane. And the last one, number 11, after you've bought new books you can't wait to get to, how long do they sit on your shelf before you get to them? A long time. The answer is a long time. There are books on my shelf that I bought. Let's take the Red Queen series, for example. I've read the first one, but not the other two. I think I bought those 3 years ago, probably. Cruel Prince, I guess I only got that this summer. there's so many books that sit on my shelf for a very long time because I have to be in the mood to read something. If I'm not in the mood after I buy it, it's gonna sit there until I feel like reading it. So one of my 2020 goals was to read a lot of the books I own, and I actually did pretty well. I read a lot of the books on my shelf, but I also read a lot of books that I rented, so we'll see. But in 2021, one of my goals is definitely to buy, or at least read more of the books that I have already. That doesn't mean I have to buy less books, just try and get through what I have. There's a lot. So that was the reader problems tag. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. I love tag videos, and I'm so excited to get to more of this December content. I don't know exactly what I'll be doing or when I'll be doing it, but there is a lot that I want to do, and I'm very excited. I love all the end of the year reading stats on Goodreads and like best book, worst book. I'm so excited to talk about my best and worst books of the year because I've got some bad books, so that'll be fun though. And I'm just so excited to start posting more, especially now that I have a little bit more free time, that school's not in session until January again. So I am very excited to be posting more. I hope you liked this video. I hope you'll come back to see more of what I post. So like, share, subscribe, and all that fun stuff, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye!